Picture this, it's the early 20th century and you're walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City. As you stroll, you pass by grand hotels that are the epitome of luxury and elegance. These are the hotels where New York's high society gathers, where deals are made and where history is written. But as you walk down that same street today, you find towering skyscrapers and office buildings. What happened to those grand hotels that once defined New York's skyline? Why did they vanish, and what took their place? But before we begin, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. While this helps us grow, it also ensures that you do not miss any of our future content. The birth of grand hotels, late 19th century. The late 19th century was a time of great change and innovation. The Industrial Revolution transformed the way people lived and worked, and this had a profound impact on the hospitality industry as well. The concept of grand hotels emerged during this period, offering a new level of luxury and comfort to travelers. These hotels were often architectural marvels, featuring opulent designs and state-of-the-art amenities. For example, the Grand Hotel in New York City, which opened in 1868, was designed by Henry Engelbert and boasted a white marble facade and a two-story mansard roof. It was initially extended to be a residential hotel, catering to the needs of the city's growing population. However, soon, these hotels even began attracting wealthy travelers and celebrities alike. Oscar Wilde, for instance, stayed at the Grand Hotel in New York City in 1882. The Grand Hotels also played a significant role in shaping the cities they were located in, often serving as landmarks and contributing to the local economy. The expansion era. As we transition a little further towards the next century, the concept of grand hotels continued to evolve. This period saw the expansion of these luxurious establishments, both in terms of their size and the services they offered. The Grand Hotel in New York City, for example, underwent several changes during this time. It was against this backdrop that the original Waldorf Hotel was built at 33rd Street and 5th Avenue in 1893 by William Waldorf Astor. The hotel was an architectural marvel and an instant hit among the city's elite. Just 4 years later, William's cousin and familial rival, John Jacob Astor IV, decided to build an even taller and more opulent hotel right next door. The cousins eventually buried the hatchet and connected the two buildings through a 300-foot marble corridor known as Peacock Alley. Thus, the Waldorf Astoria was born, a combination of the cousins' last names and their grand hotels. As the 20th century dawned, the Waldorf Astoria entered what could be considered its golden age, spanning from the 1910s to the 1950s. During these decades, the hotel was the epitome of luxury and sophistication. It wasn't just a place to stay, it was a social hub, a gathering place for the world's elite. Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, and even Queen Elizabeth II were among the many who graced its halls. The Waldorf Astoria was not just a hotel, but a stage where significant moments in history were played out. It hosted monumental events like Prince Rainier III of Monaco and Grace Kelly's engagement party, and President John F. Kennedy's birthday gala. The Waldorf Astoria was a pioneer in the hospitality industry, setting standards that were adopted worldwide. It was the first hotel to have electricity on every floor and the first to offer 24-hour room service. A rose topped each room service order that went to the towers, a tradition that spoke volumes about the hotel's attention to detail. The hotel was designed in the Art Deco style, a testament to the era's architectural brilliance. The downfall, late 20th century. Nevertheless, as all great things must come to an end, the Waldorf Astoria found itself at a crossroads by the late 20th century. As the city evolved, so did the hotel industry, and the Waldorf Astoria was no longer the unrivaled titan it once was. The hotel found itself competing with newer establishments that offered similar levels of luxury, but with a modern twist. The rise of boutique hotels and changing consumer preferences also contributed to its decline. Moreover, the land the hotel occupied in bustling Manhattan became more valuable as real estate prices soared, making the property itself a lucrative target for developers. These factors culminated in the hotel's sale and its transformation into luxury condominiums. The original Waldorf Astoria was demolished in the fall and early winter of 1929 to make way for a new building project. Interestingly, the building project in question was none other than the Empire State Building. The land on which the Waldorf Astoria stood had become exceedingly valuable. and the cost of maintaining such a large, aging structure was becoming prohibitive. The hotel was sold to a collective of businessmen led by former New York Governor Al Smith, who wished to build the world's tallest office building on the spot. The hotel's possessions were auctioned off, and the event was so captivating that it was even broadcast on the radio. The decision to demolish the Waldorf Astoria was not taken lightly. The year 1929 was filled with newspaper and magazine articles reminding the public of the hotel's greatness. However, the fashions of New York had passed the Waldorf Astoria by the 1920s. The hotel was an extraordinary piece of architecture and a significant part of New York's history. It had been the site of scientific breakthroughs, and even its telegraph offices were revolutionary. But times had changed, and the hotel had to make way for progress. The demolition process began on October 1st with a somber ceremony on the rooftop, officiated by Smith and his business partners. Work began on the Empire State Building on March 17, 1930. Despite the fact that America was on the precipice of the Great Depression. Meanwhile, a new Waldorf Astoria would open uptown on Park Avenue on October 1st, 1931. The Empire State Building had opened exactly 5 months before, on May 1st, 1931. New York City had itself two new impressive landmarks: the demise of other old money hotels in New York City. While the Waldorf Astoria story is a tale of grandeur and decline, it's not alone in this narrative. New York City, the ever-changing metropolis, has seen the rise and fall of many iconic hotels that once catered to the city's elite. The Holland House, built in the late 19th century, was another such establishment that met its end in 1947 to make way for a new office building. The hotel was a marvel of its time, but couldn't withstand the changing tides of the city's real estate market. The land it occupied, just like in the case of the Waldorf Astoria, became too valuable, and the cost of maintaining the aging structure became too high. Similarly, the New York Biltmore Hotel, once a symbol of opulence, couldn't escape the city's ever-changing skyline. It was replaced by a modern skyscraper, a sign of the times. The Park Avenue Hotel's story is particularly poignant. Built in the late 19th century, it was a symbol of New York's Gilded Age, a time of unprecedented wealth and social stratification. But as the city moved into the 20th century, the hotel became a relic of a bygone era. Its grand halls and luxurious rooms were no match for the modern amenities offered by newer establishments, and so, in 1927, it was demolished, making way for what would become another chapter in New York's complex architectural history. Similarly, there's the New York Biltmore Hotel, which opened in 1913 and was demolished in 1981. But unlike the Waldorf Astoria, the Biltmore had a different kind of story. During the late 1970s, rumors began to circulate that the Biltmore would either be converted to another use, rebuilt, or demolished. The hotel was part of Terminal City, a complex that included other grand hotels like the Commodore, the Roosevelt, and the Barclay. But as the years went by, the Biltmore found itself struggling to keep up with the demands of a new age. By the late 1970s, the hotel had become a relic, a beautiful but outdated structure in a city that was rapidly modernizing. The hotel's grand ballrooms, once the epitome of luxury and sophistication, had become a subject of debate. Preservationists fought to keep it intact, but a New York state judge declined to grant further injunctions against the hotel's demolition. The Milsteins, the owners at the time, had promised to notify preservationists when the demolition of the room was to start, but the fate of the ballroom remained uncertain. In August 1981, the hotel closed its doors and the demolition of its interiors began. Despite attempts by the Conservancy to stop the demolition through court action, the efforts were in vain. The hotel was eventually torn down, and what was left of the Biltmore became a subject of nostalgia. The hotel had secretly renegotiated its architectural contract with the New York Central, but it was not enough to save it from the wrecking ball. Each of these hotels had its own unique story, but they all share a common thread: the relentless march of progress that leaves no room for nostalgia. While these old money establishments may have closed their doors as hotels, their legacies as icons of luxury and witnesses to history remain indelible. So the next time you walk down Fifth Avenue, take a moment to remember these grand hotels. Who knows? Maybe their story will inspire the architects of tomorrow to recreate the magic of yesteryears. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. See you next time.